All right, what's going on, everybody? We're back with another video. Today is a very big day for me. I've gone through years now, actually a decade, in fact, of bad putting in disc golf. A few months back, I tried uploading a video at this very location where I tried to fix my putt myself. It didn't go well. Spoiler alert. If you haven't watched it, don't even bother at this point. So I figured I needed to seek better help. I needed something more sophisticated. I needed to bring somebody in from the outside, and that's what I'm doing today. Today I've brought in a professional.
Professional.
This is Clayton. Clayton, who are you?
I'm a disc
Wait. What's your rating, Clayton?
Currently 1,001. He might drop a point next update.
What was your rating a few months ago?
999.
Didn't you ever get past 1,001?
I'm 1,001 right now.
Okay, never mind. 1,001.
Is that not good enough?
No, it is. I just thought you were 1,005 at some point.
No.
I've got an 1,000 rated disc golfer to help me today. Clayton, what would you say your strength is?
Putting.
You tracking what I'm putting down here? Clayton is an excellent putter. He actually works with me at Foundation, and his strength is putting, as he mentioned. He makes them from everywhere. In fact, we just filmed a Foundation video with him today. He made a whole bunch of putts, and yeah, I think it's safe to say that you can help me out a little bit.
We'll try our best.
Try our best. So let me just ask you this first. What are your impressions of my putts? Just looking at it, taking it in as a whole.
Well, generally speaking, not very good.
Fair.
You miss a lot, and you don't miss in the same spot, which isn't also. You miss left, right, high, low. There's not a consistent miss.
That's a pretty tricky problem to solve.
Yeah. But when we filmed this morning, you were putting rather well.
Okay. So did you grasp my strengths then?
Well, you putt good if it doesn't matter. It's basically what that means. You know what that means? It's a lot of it's right there in the noggin. But
yes,
there's certain things you can do with your form to even if you are feeling stressed, to not miss as bad per se.
Okay. I think that'd be a fair goal today. Is figure out how to not miss as bad. Because as much as putting good would be great, it's really about not embarrassing myself.
If you can just not 3-putt, you'll save a million strokes.
If that's your goal for today, then you've got a real tall order. All right, so we got to establish a baseline for today's lesson, and make sure you got your notebooks out, because this may be my lesson, but Clayton won't charge you. So you can write down everything you learned today. It's going to teach you how to become a new man or woman on the putting green. So we're going to do a baseline. We're about 30 feet. I'm just going to throw, let's say, 10 putts, just to give Clayton a real fresh look at what he's dealing with. The head case, if only there was a brain scan. I actually brought a second putter today, and that was a big improvement for me. Here we go. Okay, this is Trevor's putt, unfiltered, raw, uncensored. Gone wrong. There's a nice juicy miss. That one went in. Okay, that's 2. 1 for 2.
I could putt too.
Yeah, you should show him a few putts as well to credential yourself. That was something. That's just nice to look at. Oh man,
there we go.
I'm always 50%. What? Look, when you're a good putter, you even get that should probably count. I mean, that was just disgusting.
That was pretty criminal.
Dang it! Why is the first one always low? Oh no! Thing of beauty right there, folks. Look at that. Nope.
Now there's real pressure.
That's so good. That's perfect. Okay, I'm glad I really came into form there for you. Okay, so as you can see, Clayton, 8 for 10. He's an 80% guy from 30 feet on a bad day with a spit through. I am a 40% guy. So that's our baseline. Now we're going to break down each aspect of the putt and see where we can build on things. We're going to start with the grip, okay? We should just reveal at the count of 3, and that way if it's something stupid, I can't adjust my fingers. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, almost the same.
Yep, you just tuck your finger a little bit. Mine's resting on the rim.
That's okay, different molds though.
For sure.
Different molds.
I don't think that's bad.
Clayton putts with darts. Should I be putting with darts? I can't. It's unfortunately It's too late for me on that.
Next year though, put it in the bracket.
So let me tell you something. I should. So let me tell you something. I for like a decade putted like this. Just in like the last year I did that, and it's actually helped me a lot.
Nothing wrong with that.
So like you're cool with this grip though.
For
Nothing
sure. I
wrong
mean,
with
Eagle
it.
puts like this. A lot of good people put like this. I
Yeah.
did this because Paul does this.
So there's not really. I feel like there's not really a ton of like theory.
No,
Some guys like to tuck their pinky. What do you think about that?
I don't like it. I can't do that. It latches on to me too much. I can't do
Okay.
it. But if you get more spin that way,
Ooh,
cool.
But what about thumb position? I feel like that's important.
Where's your thumb?
You just kind of sit it, you rest.
Yeah.
Because some guys like to bring their thumb like up like this to try and like push the
No.
disc.
How hard are you gripping it?
Barely.
Yeah, I'm very much like
Soft grip,
feel this. Like it's
loose.
Very
Okay.
loose.
Okay. I feel like that's like 1 for 1 then, because I
Yeah.
feel like our grips are very similar. So
I don't think grip is the main factor for why you miss putts.
I'd have to agree with you. I'd have to agree. Okay. Well, if the grip's okay, honestly, I was kind of hoping that would be like the easiest fix. I was kind of hoping I was going to hold up my disc and be like, no, you need to like bring both your fingers in and move your thumb to the edge, and you're going to be the best putter ever. Because that would have been a really easy, quick fix.
Unfortunately, no.
Okay. Well, we're going to move on to the next thing. All right. We've got grip has been assessed. Grip is not that bad. We're going to talk stance, because I think this might be where I struggle almost the most, because I watch myself putt on camera and I look really, really sad. I think I look stagnant. I look like hunched over. There's just not a lot of power being generated behind the disc. So like when I approach the basket, I kind of typically just look like this. What do we think about the stance?
Is the basket this way?
Yes, the basket was in that direction.
And do it towards the camera.
Okay, that's a good idea. Okay,
Like-
yeah. I'm sizing up the basket. This is my stance. That's the basket.
So your front foot's kind of angled.
Yeah, I go with a little bit slight angle on the front foot.
Yeah.
Is that good?
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I go slight angle, torso kind of slightly off kilter. I don't like directly at it. I like
Oh.
a little bit angled this way.
Okay. I feel like I do kind of square up to it. So you like kind of going off
I do.
kilter.
If you're squared up to it, like usually people do, they have their front foot directly facing towards it and they're squared up. That's way too much. This, that feels really weird to me. I don't know how you're doing that.
Okay.
I like to angle the front foot and my torso is angled slightly,
I've kind of noticed that. That makes sense.
because if you're squared up to it, like my shoulder feels like it's way like, out of line. I'm going to pull it right every time. Like, I don't know how you could.
Huh.
I could adjust and putt like this, but I feel like I would miss right a lot because my shoulder feels like or arm feels like it's supposed to go this way just because of how my body's lined up.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of square off like this. It kind of keeps my arm more linear towards the basket,
Okay.
I would say.
Okay, so if this were the basket, instead
Yeah.
of doing this, I would maybe do this.
Yeah, it's not dramatic. Yeah,
Okay.
because
That feels different. That feels very different.
Because you're back. Do you like to do your old putt or your normal
Okay.
putt?
A normal putt would be
Yeah.
like here.
Yeah. Then you can now square your shoulders off.
So it would be like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. See, because my back foot, like they're almost
Interesting.
lined up. Like because before you're kind of
Yeah.
offset a little bit. It's not bad.
So you almost want to like set your front foot and then follow that with your shoulders and then
Pretty
look
much.
at the basket.
Yeah, because like if you're like this and your torso is this way, now your like upper and lower body's like in different planes. That seems kind of weird.
Yeah,
I don't
that
know.
makes sense.
I don't know why you would do that, but it feels good. If you were a good putter, we wouldn't change it.
But no, this is the time for change this year.
Yeah,
That makes sense because I feel like if you address the basket as you're taking your stance,
Yeah.
you want to like lock onto it. But if I set my foot like kind of square on that and then address the basket, it's a lot easier for me to. Okay.
But I will say, like, for Paige Pierce, for example, she's exactly square with the basket, and she's not a bad putter. Like you
Well,
can.
These days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not. I'm not saying you
Old
can't
Paige
putt this
Pierce.
way,
Yeah.
but like she had success doing it that way. Has success.
Yeah. Had success.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can put it this way, but I feel I'm more prone to yank it right if I do that. So
Okay.
that's why I
That's a
square
good
off
idea.
a little bit.
Okay.
I
Okay.
would try that maybe.
All right. Anything else we noticed in the stance?
The other thing, I mean, do you want to go into like weight shift in this
That's
stance
probably
section?
yeah. That's probably
Okay.
important here.
So like I like to do a little weight shift because one of the big things with putting is just tempo and rhythm every time.
Yeah.
I want to keep the same. Like I don't like go super far back. I almost kind of just gently shift my weight to my back foot as I'm going down. I have like a kind of substantial pause at the bottom.
Yes.
Then I kind of go
Big
forward.
pause guy. Should I be
Yeah.
a pause guy?
I
We
like
should talk about the pause.
you can tell Paul at Beth Simp. I did it because Paul said you should do a pause.
Okay.
Now, I like
well,
it
in
because
golf, people talk about the pause at the
Yeah.
top of the swing. It's very like controversial almost.
yeah, I like the pause because you want to bring the putter down to the same spot every time, right? You
Yeah.
want consistency. The pause helps bring the putter down to the same spot every time. And like whenever you're nervous, especially, and you don't know where you're gonna bring the putter down to. So
Right.
the pause, it helps you find the spot a little better.
Okay.
That's why I like the pause. problems.
So then my next question would be, okay, we have the stance. We're kind of off kilter more.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of plane should I be bringing the disc down on, and where do you want that disc to land?
It doesn't matter, truthfully. You can where you bring it down to now is pretty much fine. I don't think that's a problem.
Just kind of sitting it down here, and
That's
just
very traditional. That's
figuring
fine.
out
I go
spot.
further down. Doesn't mean you should go further down. It's
Okay.
just the way I put. And I didn't decide to do that one day. It just kind of happened over time. I just kept practicing. That's what I started doing.
Now your weight shift. I feel like you're pretty upright,
Yeah,
and your weight shift is pretty substantial as far as like it's easy to look at.
yeah.
But it's not super dramatic. Because some people talk about getting like way back.
I don't
and
like
way
that.
forward.
No,
I feel like anytime I try to implement that, I can't stick with it.
mine
It's
is
not natural
yeah.
for me.
I go way more subtle. Like my front knee stays bent the whole time. It didn't used to stay bent. That's a more recent change.
Okay.
Now my front knee is slightly bent. I come down. It's really not that even like I'm probably more like a 50-50 split. Like I'm not all back here. It's probably like half my weight shifts to my back leg, maybe not even that.
Okay.
And then I do hunch down
Just
a little
enough,
bit.
basically.
Yeah. And then when I come forward, I kind of pop back up a little bit and shift my weight
Yeah,
forward.
you do kind of have a like where I feel like I start here. You kind of almost come down and use your back as a lever in the
do.
butt. Yeah.
Marweed also does that too. Interesting to note. Like
Yeah.
He comes down
Calvin
pretty far.
kind of does too.
Yeah. Like there's a thing to coming down and coming back up. You will get more pace when you putt that way for sure.
Yeah.
I do that as well. It's part of like the weight shift, I guess.
Okay. Okay. So we're gonna go off kilter more. We're gonna bring it down the same plane. We're gonna try adding the pause.
Yeah.
One other thing I want to know about
Okay.
the stance, it's kind of grip related, is what kind of angle are we setting the disc on? Some people I think subscribe to like here so you can really open your hand. Some people like it really neutral.
Yeah.
I've always kind of sat somewhere in between. What do you like?
I'm more neutral. Like,
Okay.
I mean, Kyle's a good putter, and he curls that thing way back.
Right.
I keep it neutral. My wrist is really, really relaxed whenever I putt.
Yeah.
Like,
you
I
like
don't-
to spin it though.
I do, but
It's less important for that putt.
I don't think about the spin. My wrist stays pretty neutral. Like, I try to keep it as loose as I can. And, like, as it comes up, the elbow comes forward, and then the wrist almost kind of like slingshots itself.
You just let it lag behind,
Exactly,
basically.
pretty much. Like the
Okay.
wrist does, because if I think about the wrist, I screw it up. So I just try to keep it as loose
Yeah.
as I can, which it's hard to do, but
Okay.
that's the thing. I don't like manually doing the wrist because then it's like I might miss left, right, who knows.
Okay. All right.
I keep it neutral. If that's answers your question.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense, especially for your putt. But I've just heard a lot of different schools of thought on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got some switch ups for the stance. Let's move on to mechanics. All right, we've got the stance down slightly. We've got the grip we kind of had to figure out. We're going to talk mechanics now. So I feel like for me, the most difficult thing with mechanics is I've always been kind of a splish putter. I genuinely believe if I were able to do what you do, and we'll talk about mental later, but if I was able to do a really loose wrist, like the best putt I could throw, that's the easy way. The best putt I could throw is to bring it back and do that, like have a pretty loose wrist.
Yep.
But it's not consistent for me.
No.
The best thing for me to do in my mind is to pull it back, not really do much with the wrist, keep it pretty quiet, and just pop the disc. Like that's just, unfortunately for us, us fellows who are not so good with the mental game, that is kind of what we have to resort to. So what do you recommend? Okay, so I'm here, I'm bringing the disc down, I'm doing a little pause. What do you recommend as far as wrist, fingers, everything going into the pop and the follow through? Like what am I doing from that point on?
Well, the biggest thing for you that I would change, like
Okay.
whenever you putt,
This is good.
you bring it down, and you
Yes.
kind of struggle a little bit here. Your elbow comes up, and then your wrist just kind of flings it out there.
That why I get hyzer bombs?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, I do get a lot of those.
If I was going to change anything, what I would probably do is try and keep your wrist and your elbow more level, if not even wrist slightly above the elbow.
Oh my gosh.
Because if you're doing this, you kind of just fling it out there, and who knows where it's going to go. This way, kind of think how Chris Dickerson does it. He kind of brings it up level. Like,
Okay. Oh my gosh.
so I think like here instead of like here.
Okay. Wow.
Because you were like,
Yeah, I'm definitely I'm
Doing that
definitely
number?
coming from here. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know.
So
I slowed down your putt in a couple of videos, and it just looks weird. It's slow motion.
My
It
miss-
just looks inconsistent.
My miss is certainly like very often I miss putts that would have gone in if they didn't come out of my hand like this.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
To the point where a lot of my friends would joke that I was putting with zones and they were steadies.
Yeah.
So you're saying, okay, so Maybe then should I pull down the disc in a more neutral place as well? Like instead of coming down on that much hyzer, should I try and keep it flatter?
Sure.
And then
I
you
mean-
want it like here or
So when you bring it up normally, you bring it up like this.
yeah,
I
I'm
almost
going
want-
elbow first.
I almost want you to be like here, then you bring them up like at the same time like this.
okay.
It's almost like we're here. You're kind of going like this. You almost want to
Yeah.
go like up and over instead of like through
Okay,
something.
so I want to come like from here. almost,
Yeah, like because you kind of just like where you're putting now, you bring it down, you kind of just bring it like straight out and through.
yeah.
I think more of like up and then straight might be better for you.
Okay.
Than like this. Though.
Okay, so we're gonna come down and try to come up
Yeah,
more.
I think
like that.
like that.
Okay,
I think that might work. Now, will you putt better
I'm being reconstructed.
in 10 minutes?
No, hey,
Because
this is not the quick
maybe
fix.
not.
This is not the quick act. You know, the whole thing with golf is you gotta get worse to get a little bit better.
Yeah.
But that makes sense to me. I mean, that has definitely been an issue more so
Yeah.
recently than before, where everything is coming out like weak and just fading
Yeah.
quick. Okay, what about rotation? How much rotation should I be putting on this? You feel like mine is fine for what I'm trying
I think
to
rotation is
accomplish?
probably fine. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not so worried about that at the moment. No.
Okay.
No.
Gosh. I mean, can you imagine like the first time I try and throw one of these new constructed putts, it's gonna come out so ridiculous. Like I'm gonna bring it, I'm gonna get off kilter, I'm gonna bring it down. How long should the pause be?
Not more than a second. I mean,
Okay.
it's
Let me give you an example. You tell me too long a pause or
Okay.
not long enough. Okay. Down.
that's good.
Okay.
You don't want to take a nap down there, but like
Should this putter be coming out of my hand on Anheuser?
flat, maybe slight Annie's not bad,
Flat.
but
What
flat,
do you mean, Anheuser putter?
not Anheuser,
Okay.
but flat.
Okay, so like down here.
If you come
Like
up,
that?
yeah, that wasn't bad. It's still a little bit of elbow, but if you come
Oh gosh.
up and through, it'll come out way flatter than like this hyzery mess you've been doing.
It's gonna be a tough one to break. That is gonna be a tough one to break.
Yeah, but if you hit the ground, like if you early release a putt and hits the ground, it's going to be way more likely to roll than if it's landing slightly
valid
flat
point.
to slight hyzer.
That is a valid point.
Like when I have like a longer putt, I try to putt slight and hyzer to even flat. So if it hits the ground, it's not going to get up and go.
Yeah. My putts usually. I think there's a math equation at this point, but like I think for every 5 feet I get away from the basket, that's about a foot of hyzer and upwards and rightwards in the basket. I have to aim for it to go in.
Yeah.
I'm usually like, if you get me 40 feet and beyond, I'm not even hitting the front of the basket anymore. I'm hitting this part of the basket.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk about routine and the mental game next. We've talked over a lot of different things. We've got some new mechanics to try out, a new stance, a new grip. Not really. Don't worry, you're going to see this all in action after this because we're going to do a secondary test and see what my new putt may look like. Now we're going to talk about the real issue, the brain, the mental side, the routine. Clayton is a really good putter. And to be a really good putter, obviously you have to be pretty stone cold. I mean, I brought him out here to literally be the putting guy and then made him throw 10 30-footers ice cold, and he made 8 of them. Didn't look like a dummy.
And one spit through.
And one spit through. So as I'm saying, like, even if you're a good putter and I make you do something like that as the putting guy, that's tough. That's a tough situation. I've seen him put in those situations, and he delivers under the pressure. So what are your secrets? How do you accomplish these things?
For mentals are tough because everybody's a little different.
Yeah.
For me, it's like
Just assume the worst.
assume the worst.
Yeah.
You can't step to a putt scared. If you're scared, which is obvious, but
Yeah.
you can't be like that. Like if I'm in a tournament and I'm outside the circle and I don't feel like I'm going to make it, I have no problem just putting it into the basket. If I'm scared, I'm just not going to go for it.
Wow. Okay.
My rule is if it's inside C1, I go for it no matter what, unless it's super windy. But if it's outside the circle and I don't feel confident, I just do that.
Okay.
Don't care.
Okay.
Because I know if I'm scared, I'm not going to commit to it.
Yeah.
There's no point in me trying. I'm going
Yeah.
to 3-putt probably. So that's one thing I do. But it's really just a confidence thing. Now, what you have to do to get that confidence is different for everybody. I'll tell you what I did for me, just a lot of practicing. And eventually, I saw success in tournaments just over time. It took me a long time to get there. Like I just wake up and be the putting guy. Like
I wish it was that simple.
Several years of just putting most every day in my backyard. Like, it's just as simple as that.
Let's talk about one thing in particular, aim point.
Yeah.
What are you aiming at?
Most people pick a specific chain that works for most people.
Yeah.
I don't pick anything.
You're a basket guy?
I'm a basket guy.
See, that makes me feel good because I feel like the people that are like the chain pickers, it makes sense, let's be clear, but like they're like,
Yeah.
they feel very superior to the those of us who have just looked at the basket and
And there's
putted.
nothing wrong with being a chain person. There's really not.
So you just look at the whole basket,
Like,
and you just throw it in.
I'm not looking at the basket thing. I'm trying to hit this exact spot. I'm trying to hit most putts just over the cage middle because that's not going to spit out, realistically.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not looking at it and picking a chain to shoot at. No,
So when you look at the basket, you just kind of take it in as a whole and throw your putt.
I go, that's 30 feet, and then I do this, and hopefully it works.
Oh my gosh. Which, I mean, technically, I do understand the idea that if you line up correctly and you throw your putt, then like that should work in theory.
Yeah.
That's kind of surprising. Okay, are there any other things like, do you have any swing thoughts with your putt or any other mental cues?
Very much depends on the putt.
Okay.
If it's a death putt, I'm trying my best not to look behind the basket because if I'm gonna run it, I might change the angle slightly I release it on. Like if it's a longer putt, I'm trying to putt it more flat consciously, maybe even slide anhyzer. So I'm thinking about that a little bit. I do the stupid thing now. I'll spin my if you have a hard time like pulling the trigger per se.
Yeah.
What I do now, this is stupid.
Okay.
I just spin my putter in my hand and I go when my disc is lined up like this, I'm gonna putt it. I spin around, it's lined up, and then I just go.
It's kind of like just like a 1, 2, 3 go situation.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Like I give myself 10 seconds of a putter set, then I'll just spin it and then I'll go.
That is the one thing I've never really had with putts is the the inability to pull the trigger. I know a lot of people do struggle with that. I don't have a problem stepping up and throwing it. I think I do have this rare ability of a shield around me of not being embarrassed really over putts because I've done so many bad ones. I think really my lack of confidence comes into I don't even know how I'm going to throw this putt because I throw everyone different.
Yeah, if you do, I mean, like you need something that you do before every putt, just like as a routine that you do. Like in the tournament, I almost always use a mini. I mean, I'm not like I want the extra 6 inches or so. Like I just want to be able to set it down. It almost just like part of a routine I do at this point. Like, I don't know, just having the same thing you do every time definitely helps. And like the spinning the disc around until it's lined up thing. I mean, I just started doing that one day, and honestly, it kind of helps a little bit.
I do one of these when I step up to a putt, just a little whoop.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thing.
Yeah.
But it's just to get comfortable sort of thing. Okay. All right. Well, you heard it here first. Just stare at the entire basket and tell yourself you're going to jam it, and you will in fact make it. Well, we're going to talk over a few drills that Clayton will suggest, and then we'll do another test. Okay, so we've gone over a lot of things, but if you haven't picked up the theme from Clayton, obviously he did get this good at putting through practice and repetition. So what are some good drills you would recommend? Because I definitely think that intentional practice is very important, because I think that a lot of just, if you're practicing wrong, I think you're going to make zero progress, if not backwards progress. So what do you like to do?
What I've done for a long time is I do 20 putts from a bunch of different distances. I go 15, 20, 25, 30.
Okay.
Even like 27 feet, I just mix it up sometimes. And I keep track of how many I try to make. And like my goal, for example, my goal for 20 feet is I want to make 20 out of 20. Like,
Duh. Of course.
Nowadays. I started off not that many, but like now I know how many I make roughly, and if I miss like 1 or 2, that's not too bad. My goal is 20.
Yeah.
Because that also puts like a little bit of pressure on you as well.
Right. That's important.
And I like having like a slight bit of pressure too, and it just structures it more, so you're not just chucking stuff in a basket.
Yeah.
So I like having a little bit of structure, and then from like 25 feet, my goal is to make 16 at least nowadays. So like I have like a number I'm trying to hit. So if I have 2 putts to go and I got to make both of them, I have like at least a little bit of pressure. That's what I always do, and I try to do like 150 or 200 putts per practice session. If you have a lot of putters,
how many putts is too many putts?
Really, just whenever you start getting distracted and frustrated. Like for me, I don't do more than 15 or 20 minutes at a time nowadays, mostly. But I also have 10 putters, so I can get in 150 to 200 putts in that amount of time.
Yeah.
If you only have 2 putters, then you might only be able to get like 50 or 60 in that amount of time.
I will also say, and as a guy who just recently did 2,000 putts, I do know that like at one point fatigue usually sets in, and then you just start drilling in bad habits because you're making up for sore muscles.
Yeah, like when I was in high school, I used to putt for like an hour a day.
Yeah.
And I was so into disc golf, I loved it. I didn't have a problem with it. Nowadays, I'd rather puke before I putted for an hour straight.
Wow.
So
Lost passion for the game.
Yeah, you could say that again. No. That's one of my favorite drills. But I like to mix in straddles every now and then. So like I'll do a set of straddles too.
Yeah.
Because you gotta be good at both.
Those are the easy ones though.
Yeah.
I never miss the straddle putts because they don't count.
They don't count.
Okay. Well, I think what I should do is I'm gonna try and drill a couple putts, trying to do the new thing, and then I'll just see if I can make more than I made at the beginning of the day. To recap, I'm just gonna throw a couple really short here. just to kind of like get myself used to the motion. I'm going to try to square my shoulders with my feet kind of off kilter. I'm going to try and add a little pause, and I'm going to try and get up through my chest a little bit more instead of coming low and on hyzer. That's kind of the only 3 things to key off of. They're dramatic, but I think I should be able to manage. So, all right. And I'm not even going to aim at a chain either, because I've been doing that. I'm just looking at the basket. Forget the whole chain thing. I kind of like that. It takes a lot of stress out of it. Because sometimes I think when you aim it, I understand aim small, miss small. It makes a lot of sense, but I think it sometimes adds more pressure, if that makes sense. Anyways, no more stalling. Okay. It's just getting rotation with that motion.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be like a little bit of toying around.
It's a different way to generate spins.
Right.
Like, you have to relearn that a little bit for sure.
I got to say, though, I like the pause a lot. The pause feels very comfy.
I like to pause as well.
Okay, I'm going to really try to be confident. I like the flatness of the putter, though.
I do as well.
Here we go. For all the money. I threw a couple off camera just to like really sink it in a little bit. We're just going to see what happens. We're going to see what happens. Oh, see, that was a pull. What did I do wrong?
You kind of went a little elbow first again.
It's the elbow. That's what's getting me. That's going to be that's going to be the real tough thing, I think. There we go.
There's a
That
putt.
looks good. That actually looked really good.
There's a putt.
I like the pause a lot. Pause might be the thing. Oh, just low, but it's on line. There it is.
That was a
That's
good putt.
nice. Yeah, that felt good.
Instead of elbow first, I should say like you went like straight through instead of like up and out. I guess
Yeah.
that's
No,
better.
I could tell. I kind of like I bailed out of it almost.
That's a better way to say it than
Yeah.
elbow first.
I shortcutted myself. There's never any more
There
pressure
we
than
go.
in a putting clinic. This basket just isn't great. Is that the same thing?
A little bit, yeah.
That was better. That was better.
That one looks smoother. There you go.
That was better. The high follow through helps a little bit too.
Those are both really good.
That was good.
Low and on the pulse, what we want to see. There we go.
I just need to get tighter rotation like that.
When I see wobble my putt, I want makes me want to throw up.
Yeah, me too. There, that was better. Oh, that one got dropped. Okay.
That one.
That's the one. That's the one right there.
That was a
That's
good
the
looking
one I
putt.
like. Okay. Okay. I might be the best putter ever. All right, folks, we went through everything. I think that I'm on the road to improvement. I sought help. I couldn't do this on my own. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I think I got some great tips today. Hopefully, if you're watching at home, you also got some tips that you could think about and maybe apply as well. Like I said, Clayton's a really good putter, so you gotta believe in what he's saying. I'm gonna continue drilling this putt, and if you see me in future videos, you're gonna hopefully see a new me. This is different than anything I've ever tried before, so I think it'll work out. What do you think? You feel confident?
I think so. I think
Okay.
so.
Okay. Clayton will hold me accountable. If he sees me putt and my elbow gets way in front of my wrist again, he's going to shock me with a dog collar or something. Let me know if you enjoyed this video in the comments down below. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you would like to see more of these kind of lesson type things, I don't know. I have some friends that are pretty good at disc golf. Just let me know in the comments. And if you hate all the teaching content, that's fine too. There'll be more playing disc golf in other videos. But today, I needed to learn how to putt, and that's what we accomplished. So I'll see you next week.